Chaye Moharan 96. The Rebbe told in the days of Elul. He dreamed that he wanted to go inside a house to hear the shofar blast. He passed by one house and heard that they were singing and clapping and dancing intensely. They were rejoicing in tremendous dancing leaps, like people extremely joyful and ecstatic. I piped up and said, "Behold, it is certainly good to go there and hear the voice of the shofar. The rest I do not recall." Someone spoke up and said that his book too hints that the mitzvah of shofar is the aspect of clapping and dancing. Rabbeinu, may his memory be for a blessing, nodded. Afterwards, God sent in my heart that Scripture hints to shofar in the aspect of jubilation and happiness. For, then shall be filled sechok pinu vol, shonenu rina, our mouths with laughter, and our tongues with jubilation, is head letters, shvpr, shofar. Therefore, after the verse, fortunate is the nation who knows the shofar blast is written, Besimcha yegilun kal hayom, they rejoice in your name the whole day. See elsewhere that the main crying should be from joy, because bchyh/beshia crying is the first letters of the words Beshimcha yegilun chal hayom. Posing the question, what did you do? The Zohar portion Yisro tells about Rabbi Yishak and Rabbi Yossi. They were sitting learning Torah. Rabbi Shimon passed and asked, "What are you talking about?" They answered, "We are busy with what we heard from you." He asked them, "With what? Which topic are you reviewing?" They repeated before him a long talk that they had heard from him. As brought there in the Zohar, many interpretations on the verse, "This is the book of the offspring of man." Matters of the human form. To recognize the nature of a person through hair, the forehead, the eyes, in the face, in the lips, in the lines on the hand, and on the ears. All these were revealed to them through Rabbi Shimon and his Torah. The first question that Rabbi Shimon asked his disciples was, "What are you busy with? What is your business? How do you spend your time?" Indeed, the essential question, "What are you busy with?" causes a great awakening, a tremendous awakening, because exactly the same question shall be posed to a person in time to come. What were you busy with? What do you do in this world? How did you spend your time? What exactly did you do with the time set for you in this world? Not to wait until they ask you. But the real truth is, we should not wait until being asked this question there in the world of truth. Rather, already here, while still in this world, each individual has to take account of his own soul and ask himself, what are you busy with? What are you doing? What are your thoughts involved with? How do you spend your hours? In Torah, in prayer, in good deeds, in what? Power of students, from the Rabbi. Rabbi Shimon certainly knew who these two holy disciples, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yishak, were. He knew their greatness and outstanding holiness. Nonetheless, he tested them and asked, "What are you busy with?" Meaning, what was their level at that moment? And from where do they draw their holiness? What was their answer? What they heard from him, meaning their answer was that their entire power was from it. Their entire business was in his Torah, and from him was drawn their level. They began to repeat what they had heard from him. A long lesson of some 12 pages of the Holy Zohar, the Torah of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon heard that they were indeed reviewing his words, and nothing was lacking. They were truly attached to the Righteous One and his Torah in a manner way that the Torah was inscribed in their hearts. They remembered well all that they heard, and they reviewed the matters without a letter missing. He then answered, "May my portion be with you. My future place in Gan Eden will be with you." The answer to the question, "What were you busy with?" posed to them by Rabbi Shimon, was well completed. Therefore their reward in the world to come will be complete. They will even merit to sit there in his partition. From here it is possible to extract tremendous strengthening. By virtue of hearing Torah from the Rabbi that penetrates mind and heart, it is possible to have what to answer when they will ask, "What were you busy with?" And the answer will be accepted. In practice, we learn that cleaving to the Torah of the Righteous One is the way to fill our days and years fittingly. What were you busy with? Every single detail. Behold, in time to come, they will not just ask a general question, what were you busy with? In a broad, overall manner, they will ask about each day. And not only about each day, but about every single hour and each moment. What did you do? What were you busy with? This should be something that constantly arouses a person to make soul account. From time to time, stop and ask himself, what are you busy with? One has to be prepared for the time when they will ask him what he did every single moment. What will he answer? For example, about the minute he was busy with folly and emptiness. How shall he not be ashamed to answer? What were you busy with is the question that will be asked in time to come. And it is the question that a person has to also ask himself now in the present. What are you doing? So was the practice of Rabbi Shimon. Whenever he met up with disciples who hearkened his doctrine, this was his question, what are you busy with? Those who were already understood the depths of the question. They were also properly prepared to answer, because these holy righteous ones always had what to answer. Therefore, when one is busy doing something good, fortunate is he, because he can answer in power, I was busy with some sacred matter. If not, what will he answer? I was busy with the most empty nonsense? What will he say if, God forbid, he was busy with something actually forbidden? What can he answer? Words of hitbodedut. A person can learn from this precious ideas for when he secludes and speaks his heart out before his Father in heaven. To seek in the recesses of his soul fitting words to stir inspiration and appease his master. It is then fitting to summon this idea and take soul account. Behold, they shall ask, what were you busy with? What will I answer? There they don't overlook any hour and instant. How could I take my mind off this to be sidetracked and think of other things? They will ask, what were you busy with? What will you answer? Repeat this many times until you are aroused. Amidst this, his heart will be opened to a long dialogue with God, the advantages of which will be priceless. Fortunate is one whose thought flies in the words of the Righteous One. Is known the words of Moharanat. Fortunate is one whose mind flutters in the words of the Rebbe. That is, when the brain soars in the words of Rabbeinu, a satisfactory answer to the question, with what were you busy, is in your hand. Not only is it satisfactory, happy is he. As said, we find something like this in the words of Rabbi Shimon. While his disciples were busy in his Torah, he spoke outstandingly of their praise and said that they are fortunate. He even went so far as to say, may my portion be with you. To be busy with the Torah of the Righteous One is a very fine business. Fortunate is one who always holds on to it. His thoughts constantly flutter in the words of the Rebbe and he always lives with them. Each thought makes tremendous changes. The Rebbe tells that thought rests not for a moment, not even for an instant. Moharanat goes at length to explain this in his works. Know that the speed of thought is not for naught. Every single minute change in thought makes many alterations. At times it is possible to build or destroy through one passing thought. We see this in the words of the aforementioned Zohar piece. Rabbi Yishak and Rabbi Yossi answered Rabbi Shimon that they were busy with explanations of, this is the book of the offspring of man. What they had heard from Rabbi Shimon. The Holy One, blessed be, he arranged that the universe is run through stars, constellations and celestial spheres. Thousands upon thousands of stars fleet through the heavens. They always change. This one above, this one beneath, this one to the south, this one to the north, etc. So it is in a person. There are inscriptions and letters, circles and lines, 3 to the right, 3 to the left, etc. See there incredible matters, based on each movement and even each thought. So change the lines and inscriptions and letters to this side or the other side, for good or for better. Any change in thought alters the world of a person's own inscriptions. Every budge causes turnarounds and formations completely different than what was until now. If God forbid he has bad thoughts, the permutations change from one end to the other. Righteous ones, whose eyes shine in them, have the ability to know actions and thoughts just by looking at the inscriptions. The wisdom of lines and inscriptions, only for the elite. However, we know nothing of this. Even those who think they know the secret of inscriptions and lines, their vision is not up to par. It appears from the words of the Zohar that it could be forbidden to show lines to those who think they know this wisdom, because it usually does not come from a holy place. The science of lines is not a wisdom that anyone can grasp just by learning. It is only given to the holy Tanaim and true righteous ones, due to their tremendous cleaving to God. Their eyes are opened, and they see everything. They can even see what happened in the past. But this is a type of wisdom unto itself, unlike other areas of knowledge, which are given over to sages and scientists. The power of Kedusha and the power of Klipa. This is also brought in the words of the Holy Zohar. The power of Raya Mehemna, the faithful shepherd Moshe Rabbeinu, was due to his Kedusha holiness. The more he sanctified himself, the more his power was intensified. So to distinguish the power of the wicked Bilam was from the husk. The more he unpurified himself, the more power he had. May the merciful one save us. As our sages say on the verse, no one arose in Israel like Moshe, but in the nations someone did arise. Who was it? Bilam. The power of concealment is so great in this world. The entire matter of the true righteous one is cleaving to God, blessed be his name. All of his actions are connected. His knowledge and vision are solely empowered by the divinity he is attached to. By virtue of this power, he accomplishes amazing things above nature. So to distinguish by the wicked Bilam, he was able to demonstrate amazing things, but all from the power of impurity. Can we comprehend such a thing? When Bilam wanted to do something, he would purify himself. He became more impure and abominable. Through this he saw what he saw. May the merciful one save us. Distinguish between Kedusha and Tuma. The camouflage and concealment is extremely great. So much that at times it is necessary to have extra insight to know how to distinguish between holiness and impurity. Indeed, the power of impurity is great. God, blessed be his name, made it so for the sake of free choice, as known. Also through it can strange supernatural things happen. And it is not always given to distinguish between them. It is actually possible to make a mistake, God forbid. This is quite awesome. It makes fear of God fall upon us. It is always necessary to scream before the Holy One, blessed be he, as expressed by Moharanat. See someone in danger like me. See someone in danger like me. A person is in constant danger. What is the solution to prevent him from, God forbid, falling to the other side? Not to turn for a moment away from holiness. Not to take one step away from the words of righteous ones. Not to budge for an instant. This is a great lesson. Not to look to the side or outside. Sometimes one who is outside does good. Even if he seems to have good advice, do not listen. Not by any means. Do not be affected by one who is far from righteous ones and the truth of our holy Torah, who also does good things. Most certainly not. So did the Holy One, blessed be. He made creation. A person always has free choice to know that the righteous one does everything through holiness. But even the wicked person can at times execute the same feat from the power of husk. This grants the chance to choose good or evil. You are commanded, you shall choose life. Not to be affected by the acts of wicked ones, rather to cling to the acts of righteous ones. It is possible to know how to distinguish between impure and pure, but it requires much searching and much asking that God, blessed be his name, enlighten you. This is one of the great tests of our treacherous world. Show me, God, your way. I will walk in your truth. Indeed, it is necessary ask a lot. Show me, God, your way. I shall walk in your truth. Guide me in your truth. Master of the universe, Therefore did the Rabbi speak so highly of the matter of talking to God, blessed be his name, and supplicating before him. So he should shine to you from amidst the darkness of this world. When a person asks God, blessed be his name, to lead him in the way of truth, he evokes pity from above. For there it is well known that we are found in a dangerous realm filled with husks and impurity. Even the little holiness here is mixed good and bad, and we are always in danger. Every move we make is filled with tests and trials. But when someone asks to be led in the way of truth, they immediately have mercy upon him. Therefore, it is forbidden to let up for even an instant. Rather, constantly supplicate for your soul, that it should not stray even a little bit to the wrong side, because through a small turn you could lose both worlds. But a person doesn't feel this at all. He thinks, what is my sin? What is my iniquity? Only a small thought came to mind, and not more. What could happen? But we already mentioned that even one improper thought changes all of the permutations and inscriptions, and completely turns a person over, God forbid. The real solution is not to budge the smallest bit from your position. Constantly ask God, blessed be his name, to be able to stand in place without moving a hair's breadth. Always request, show me, God, your way. I shall walk in your truth, only in your truth. Only then is your path secure. With the help of God, blessed be his name. This is the book of the offspring of man. Meaning, just like the Holy One, blessed be, he runs the world through the stars and constellations and celestial spheres, so is man himself, a miniature world. And just like they change every single moment, so it is by man. As the Zohar goes at length to say on the verse, this is the book, person nechud, person is a small world. His lines and inscriptions are like stars and constellations. Wherever he turns, completely different formations are made immediately. Be strong in faith. Don't flee from the battlefield. This requires faith. To know that when I do something, everything changes. Who knows and who feels this? Who can imagine what upheaval is made from every little movement and each small thought? This requires faith, that every one of my acts changes things here and in the upper realms and in all the worlds. They make tremendous turnovers. Much prayer is required to be able to hold thought by the reins and not let it veer from the holy path. However, the matter is very severe. Because things are hard, should you leave the battlefield and flee to make it easier? There is only one solution. Pray to God, blessed be his name, supplicate for your soul. Stay in your place and plead. Have mercy on me that I should be able to be strong as iron, without confusion and without the slightest letting up. The only way to merit holy faith is through prayer. You will see that all the difficulty you had was only due to the husks that prevailed when you weren't strong in faith. But this is clear. God forbid to abandon the battlefield due to the temporary difficulties that prevail over you, for you can stand steadfast through prayer. I believe that he saw God. Moharanat had bitter arguments with the big philosophers and heretics in Uman. They were actually in the category of the forehead of the snake, but he did not hesitate to fulfill the Rebbe's command to speak to them. Even though it was something extremely difficult for him, he did not leave his job. Once, in midst of bitter argument with Hirsch Bear, one of the great philosophers of Uman, Moharanat spoke up in certainty and said only this: "You are arguing with me? I say to you, I saw God. With my eyes I saw God." Hirsch Bear believed him. Moharanat said in his pure words, "I said to Hirsch Bear, I saw God, and he believed me." Moharanat had such pure faith, he merited to real revelation of divinity eye to eye. By power of this pure faith, he even affected one of the greatest philosophical heretics in the world, and he believed me. We need to be strong and not to budge even a little bit from the holy path, and beg God to help us remain strong and stand our watch, to hold on to the holy path forever, to not let any force in the world distance us from closeness to God. Talk 37. Inspiration comes. Don't let it go sour. The king was astonished that these two were called by the names. Sophisticate, and simpleton. He wanted to see them. He sent letters to each one of them. The king desires to see them. The messengers traveled there and give them the letters. The simpleton. As soon as the letter came to him, he was filled with joy. He ran to his wife and said, "The king sent for me." She asked him, "Why? And concerning what?" He had no time to answer her. He ran quickly with joy and immediately went with the messenger. The sophisticate. When the letter came to him, he answered the sage who brought it to him, "Wait. Stay here overnight. We will talk. We will settle our minds." He spoke up and said, "What is this that the king sent for me?" He was extremely flabbergasted. The sophisticate piped up and said, "The matter is clear and evident that there is no such thing as a king in the world at all. May the merciful one save us." Sipere Masios, the sophisticate and the simpleton. The simpleton does not go sour. He immediately takes action. Indeed, this is the main difference between the sophisticate and the simpleton in Sipere Masios. It came out through the letters. When the simpleton was summoned, he was immediately ready to go without tarrying at all. "The king is calling me, I will go," whereas the sophisticate did not run. His answer to the king's messenger was, "Wait. Wait a bit." The lazy, hesitant response of the sophisticate "wait" already demonstrates that he is the opposite of the simpleton. The simpleton doesn't want calculations and doesn't think any extra thoughts. "The king is calling me. I am ready to travel on the spot. Off I go." Whereas the sophisticate immediately starts with calculations. "Not now. Wait, wait." He lets the inspiration go sour and loses the special power that comes at the beginning of any holy matter. Who knows when he will again have the opportunity for such an arousal? What he now willingly lets slip through his hands. The difference between shemetz and matzah. Maharanat brings in Likutei Halachos the issue of the difference between leaven and unleavened bread. When the Jewish people were ready to leave Egypt, to flee from 49 gates of impurity, hand in hand with this leaven was forbidden to them. What is leaven? Dough that is leavened. It is left waiting for a time without being kneaded. This hints to when a person comes out of the husks. He is leaving Egypt, the source of dirt and impurity. He is then not allowed to wait. He must flee immediately. They were not able to tarry. There is no chance to hang around. It is forbidden to linger for even a moment, to probe and contemplate, even if he has good intentions. Rather, he must run to escape from there. This is the idea of the prohibition of leaven at that time. All this when they were called to leave Egypt. Leaven was forbidden to them. After completely separating from Egypt and leaving 49 gates of impurity, counting 49 days of the Sephiro and receiving the Holy Torah, then, on Shavuos, 2 loaves are offered from leaven. Only then is it given to wait, to investigate and probe. Then is it already possible to have peace of mind. But when you run away from fire, you just run and escape. At that time it is forbidden to think of anything. First, run away and flee and save your life. Similarly, when they want to grant you a gift from above, inspiration cleaving to God, spread out both hands. Quickly take and don't wait a moment, lest you lose it all. The benefit of haste, the simpleton. So it was by the simpleton. The messenger came and told that the king wants to see him. Closeness is granted from heaven, and you are ready to leave a low level to ascend and come to the ruler of the universe. He did not tarry. He called to those who came to invite him. Indeed, I will go immediately. He only checked to make sure that there was no scoffing and went on the spot. He did not tarry whatsoever. When his wife asked him, why and for what, he had no time to answer her at all. He just went quickly with joy and traveled to the king. What do I care? Why and to where? I am summoned. I go. As a result of this practice, the simpleton climbed level after level until he became very great. As brought there, he became a minister, then head of all the princes. He acquired a place in the king's court and became the viceroy. It all began because he did not tarry and wait. As soon as he felt the summons, he rose to the call and ran straight away. He did not allow the opportunity to go sour. The loss of going sour, the sophisticate. But the sophisticate, when the royal summons came to him, his first answer was, "Wait, wait, and tarry. There's no need to run." A long wait began. He held up the king's messenger. He asked him to stay overnight. After this, he made a meal. Here, his downfall already started. From this waiting came deterioration. He fell level after level until the lowest pit, until he came to the foolish conclusion that there is no judge and no judgment. May the merciful one save us. Who needs me? Is he concerned about me? Is there at all a king? May the merciful one save us. From what did this begin? From waiting, from a lack of speed, from pushing off and letting go sour the original inspiration that came to him. The simpleton does not enter into speculation. Who is the king? Why is he calling me? Etc., etc. He runs promptly without inspecting and scrutinizing. Therefore did he merit what he merited. Whereas the sophisticate immediately entered into destructive examination. Who is the king? Is there a king? Why is he calling me? He fell into investigations until he completely deteriorated and descended to the lowest pit of philosophy and heresy. May the merciful one save us. Behold, we see from all this that when one is close to some holy matter, when inspiration comes, it is forbidden to wait and let it go sour. Rather, take action swiftly, run very quickly, and do not to let it get sour. Don't push it off to another time. Do not budge one step. Take immediate action. The Rebbe says, Kalamar kan mitha, when a person has a thought of repentance, it is forbidden to ignore and leave it for another time. Rather, immediately do some holy act while still in place. Because it could be that if he will move even one step, the thought of repentance will disappear. In the place where you are found at that moment when the thought of repentance comes, do something based on it. When a good thought is aroused, a desire to get close to God, lift your eyes to heaven. Lift your eyes on high. Say a word to God, blessed be his name. There is such a thing, that a certain place causes a spirit of purity to flow down from on high. If you move even one step, the thought of repentance might go away. There is such a thing caused by time. A certain time arouses your spirit to good. If you wait a little, it will leave. It will be as if it never was. Likewise, Mocharanat writes that he noticed many times by the Rebbe that he would suddenly halt in the middle of the room and reveal an awesome lesson and amazing paths in serving God, blessed be his name. He did not want to move from his place until he finished what he had to say. When inspiration comes from above, one is obliged to think quickly and use it for some service of God, such as to speak words to God, blessed be his name, while still there where the inspiration came. At that time, don't take a step away and don't wait one moment before grabbing some devotion. When the king's summons come immediately. Inspiration that suddenly comes to mind and heart is like a summons from the king, and for the king there are no set times. At times he calls in the middle of the night, at times by day, when you sit in your house, or when you walk by the way. When he calls, it is necessary to immediately appear. And God forbid to ignore the call, for how is it possible to know when he will call again? I only hear the voice calling, I am ready. This is a very important lesson for us. When you are summoned, do not make any calculations. Don't ask, why is he calling me and not someone else? And why precisely now and not another time? Because, in truth, this is not something that can be understood. It is also not necessary to know. Only this. When called, you come. When you are aroused to do repentance, take immediate action based on it, without analyzing and asking why and for what. Take action before the good thought flies away, the question that has no answer. It is known that Mocharanat once turned to the Rebbe and asked, "This, that people are far from you, is not a question. The question is, why did I merit to draw close to you?" The Rebbe answered, "This is also not a question," meaning, so does God run the world. The Holy One, blessed be, he calls, and we don't know why. Can you think that you are close to the Rebbe because you are higher, or that you have better lineage? Not necessarily. For behold, we see in the world great people who are nonetheless not close to the Rebbe. Why? This is not known. And why am I not far? This is also not known. But what? This one received a call from above and came. This one did not yet receive a call. Or he did not respond to the call. Therefore, when a though of repentance is stirred in a person, he is not allowed to think, why me? Is it because I am a better Jew? Not at all. By any means. This is nothing but the secret devices of the unfathomable divine mind, that we creatures of flesh and blood born of woman know not for why and for what. But this is clear. When summoned, come immediately. The call assumes many forms. Behold, this topic. When the message comes, listen to it. There are many types of calls, inclusive of many matters. The Rebbe brings in Likutei Moharan the verse, I spread out my hand and no one listens. Rashi explains, to hint to them to return to me. Levy, mang kafanaifarem, dat, hidi, for. Mang kafanaifarem, quote, from heaven they call, and hint to turn here to draw close to the Holy One, blessed be He, with all types of hints, to each in a personal manner that relates to Him. But the whole problem is, no one listens, to think into the hints, and use them to come close to God, blessed be His name. It is brought that in time to come they will show a person how many hints were sent to him from heaven. They were meant to bring him back in repentance and draw him close to God, blessed be His name. So many hints were given. I spread out my hand to give hints, but no one listens. He doesn't pay attention to the hints. However, in the future, they will not look like just hints, rather like open lessons. But even while here, when you think into them and prepare, it is possible to discover hints on every step and movement, and to draw close through them to God, blessed be His name. Listen to the hints, do not ignore them. The Rebbe writes in Lesson 54, the Holy One, blessed be He, as if constricts himself from high up in the world of thought all the way down to the physical plane in order to give hints to each individual in thought, word, and deed. In order to awaken the person to draw close to Him, the Holy One, blessed be, He is the merciful Father who does not push anyone away. He desires each and every individual, with absolutely no exceptions, for no outcast is cast away from you. Therefore does He send all kinds of hints to every person. At times like this, at times like that, at times in this place, at times in another place. One has to ask God, blessed be His name, to merit to discover the hints, to listen and actualize them, that they should actually help to bring you close to the Holy One, blessed be He. Diverting attention disqualifies Kadashim. Offerings are a great service done in the Holy Temple. If the Kohen takes his mind off holy offerings for a moment, they are disqualified. Similarly, when some holy matter is on a person's mind, he is actually like a Kohen offering offerings. It is forbidden for him to divert attention for even a moment, so that he shouldn't become disqualified, God forbid. But there is also a solution, even if he forgot the arousal that came to him. He is not disqualified in a manner that can no longer be fixed, God forbid. The solution is, return immediately. Grab yourself and return immediately. Don't give up, even after losing attention. But from the outset, one has to take care to never lose concentration. Where I am, behold, I am busy with holy things. How could I forfeit my place by losing attention and going elsewhere? Why? What kind of an exchange am I making? In practice, repeat and learn well. When a good thought comes, do not let it go sour. Don't take the mind off of it. Don't go to another place. Rather, immediately take action based on it. This will lift you up from level to level. Wake up. Do not let it go for naught. There is a statement from the Rebbe that if a person wakes up in the middle of the night, he should not go right back to sleep. Rather, he should grab some holy matter, such as saying a word before God, blessed be His name. If he awakens before finishing sleep, he should not go back to sleep without doing anything. Rather, he should immediately do something holy, speak some words before his Maker, or at least let out a deep sigh from inside in longing for him. One should accustom himself to return to God, blessed be his name, as soon as he opens his eyes. Pour water on your hands and lifts your eyes heavenward. You already speak to God, blessed be his name. Inspiration is also from above. When a person suddenly awakens from sleep, he should realize that this is also from above. It is a call to him. It is certainly a hint given from on high. If so, it rests upon him to listen to this hint, so that there won't be a claim against him. I spread out my hand, but no one listens. Why should he not do what he can at that moment? Why should he not lift his eyes to heaven and say some words to God, blessed be his name, so that the call should not be for naught? The hint should be well understood and followed. Lift up your eyes on high. Accept the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. It is brought in the Tikkunei Zohar that the word Shema, listen, the first word of reciting of the Shema, is head letters, lift up your eyes on high. Meaning that Shema, the expression of accepting the yoke of the heavenly kingdom, is accomplished by just lifting up your eyes heavenward with a good thought. This easy act of lifting the eyes up to heaven with a good thought, takes a split second. Lift up your eyes on high. You already accepted upon yourself the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. This is really great strengthening. The Zohar hints it to us through the head letters of the first word of reciting of the Shema / accepting the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. In one moment, through raising the eyes above, one already accomplishes Shema, accepting the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. Once a person wakes up, even though afterwards he continues sleeping, he can continue to act in accepting the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. To lift his eyes to heaven and speak to God, blessed be his name. They called you from heaven. Give some small answer, at least pick your eyes up. Raise your eyes to the sky and say some words. Groan for God, blessed be his name. This is also something. Do not completely ignore and continue to sleep without doing anything. You check by moments. The verse states, you check by moments. Indeed, just like it is possible, God forbid, to stumble in one moment and do bad, such as a bad thought or a bad glance, so is it possible in one moment to amass a great measure of good. The moment should be extremely precious, whether to turn away from bad or grab some good. In one moment, it is possible to distance from evil and in that instant draw close to good. This has both strengthening and inspiration. In only 1 minute, it is already possible to make a complete turnover and draw closer to God, blessed be his name. On the other hand, this contains a tremendous warning. In a single instant, it is possible to lose, God forbid. When a person always remembers this, he will pass through his days and years properly. Despite this, we did not forget your name. There are elite people, righteous ones and holy ones, who are able to cleave to their Creator for many consecutive hours, and even for many complete days, without forgetting him for an instant. However, people like us, with the things each one goes through, there is no moment like another, what boils within each person. We need to know that to give even a single minute to God, blessed be his name, is also very precious. 1 moment to separate from evil and to lift the eyes to heaven in positive resolution for the future is also good. And it is at least a protest against bad. With this, a person demonstrates that he is not completely severed from God, blessed be his name. You still did not forget him. On Monday and Thursday we recite in the Vihu Racham prayer, despite all this we have not forgotten your name. This prayer enumerates varied problems and quandaries, scoffing and taunting, blows, shame and insult, etc. Nonetheless, despite our shame and lowliness, we forget not your name. In spite of it all, we forget you not. Forgetfulness is a sign of despair and giving up. Despite this, You sometimes turn from evil for a moment. It is a sign that we still have not completely forgotten you. We still do not give up. We are still not cut off, God forbid, from the source of life. Although I am mocked and ridiculed, given for blows, taunting and shame, I am filled with folly and emptiness. Nevertheless, I lift my eyes on high. I object. I declare that I do not want to separate from you. I still remember you. I still have not completely forgotten you. The power of his chaskis is without bound. This should be known. These are not just moments of severing from evil and no more. Rather, through moments of separating from bad, one is sure to completely come out of it. As times goes on, transform into a completely kosher person. Because this is the order. It starts with moments, but they serve as thrusts to further progress and result in completely getting out. This matter is tremendous strengthening for us. Lifting the eyes to the Holy One, blessed be. He is so great that the Zohar considers it like accepting the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. It can certainly cause great change to turn into a fitting kosher person. Hold on to the good point, however small it might be. For if you treat it disparagingly, you will mistreat other things. Who knows where it will lead? Be strong, however possible. Through this you will come to lofty levels. The main cause of a person's progress in serving his Maker is through strengthening. It is the ladder through which it is possible to ascend to the divine house. Everything depends upon his chaskis. Moharanat once praised the tremendous benefits of strengthening. He said that all growth and development in serving God depends on strengthening. He specified many names of great people whose main ascent was to do their strengthening. Why did this righteous one reach his level? Moharanat asked and answered. Because he had this amount of strengthening. All rungs, each one to his level, were attained only through strengthening. Because the adversary does not let up and leave any person alone. He also deals with the very great. In order to prevail over him and not fall, you need strengthening on every level. Only through this is it possible to be saved from the adversary, both simple people and great people. Moharanat found it special to mention names of specific righteous ones, in order to teach that even elite people need to hold on and be strong in positive points, and rejoice in simple devotions. For only through this is it possible to hold on to what you already have. Also, to rise and get closer to God, blessed be his name. There is danger even on the highest levels. Know this, even someone on the highest level, if he does not have strengthening, he is prone to fall and completely deteriorate. The story is known. When the holy Degel Machane Ephraim, grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, was a child, the holy Baal Shem Tov took his hand. He whispered in his ear something like this: "There is a certain person who hears Torah daily, not from an angel, not from a fiery angel, not from a messenger, but from the Holy One, blessed be he himself. Nonetheless, he is in constant danger, that he should not fall into the great abyss. May the merciful one save us. For even when a person holds by extremely lofty levels, nonetheless, he still needs strengthening not to fall into despair and become completely lost. God forbid." The understanding of the awesome words of the Baal Shem Tov is that the adversary starts up with even the greatest righteous one, like himself, because he knows that such a high, holy, righteous one is the one who makes the world go round. If he would be successful to conquer him, he has the whole world in his hand. Therefore, it is impossible to imagine what intense energy the adversary invests into making him fall, God forbid. He seeks to inject despair, as if he is far from God, blessed be his name. Therefore, even a great righteous one on the highest level requires a great amount of strengthening to stay in place and not fall. However, simple people are not able to even stand against foolish desire. A foolish desire, the adversary easily prevails over them. They require continuous fortification, to be strong and hold on by every single budge and movement not to stumble. But when the topic is high people, The adversary tries to conquer with strong forces. They need huge quantities of strengthening, so much that Moharanat said that upon this depends their whole level. And each righteous one reached his unique level parallel to how much he strengthened himself not to fall into the teeth of the adversary. Each one gets special care. Therefore, person should not look at others to measure what he goes through based on his friend, because every individual has his special tests. It could very well be that what appears to you like a great mountain is something negligible by a friend. Each person gets special treatment from the adversary, who well recognizes his personal fallacies. Based on them he attacks. Therefore, it is necessary for every person to be strong in his special good points and never think about anyone else. For, in the words of the Holy Simpleton, this is his job, and this is my job. In practice, consider. I have a rabbi who teaches me the significance of every holy act, and how important is each objection to the adversary. We hear these things. Let us not wait and push off to another time. Do not let inspiration that comes go sour. Rather, lift eyes heavenward and immediately object to the bad inside. Speak words to God, blessed be his name. Master of the universe, have mercy on me. I do not want to be cut off from you. Give me strength to prevail upon the adversary who wants to make me stumble on every step. Master of the universe, I am connected to you. I am yours, not his, even though we are the way we are. Despite this, we have not forgotten your name. This allows positive change. For objection takes you out of the domain of the other side and into the domain of holiness. As mentioned, that through one turn to good, the inscriptions are completely transformed and you become a totally different person. The main thing is not to go sour. This is just like unleavened bread, which is forbidden to let wait and become leaven and sour. If you are inspired where you stand, use it. When a good thought comes, promptly object to evil. This is the path of the simpleton. When the king calls, come straight away. The message comes immediately. I am ready right away. The way of the Rabbi, his chaskas. All this is contained in the path of the Rabbi, which is mainly strengthening. To always run to God, blessed be his name, in whatever situation it might be. Not to hesitate and stop and think and let go sour. Rather, always lift the eyes to heaven, lift up your eyes on high. Right away, on the spot. Don't let any thought of repentance and inspiration wait. Immediately do something holy, so that it should not be for naught, something passing. Let it be a ladder, a push to draw close to God, blessed be his name, on a regular basis. The real meaning of remember the day of death. Even what the Gemara says. Remember the day of death. Our people would explain that it does not mean what people think. Thoughts of fear and depression. When you will lay with feet to the door, they will place you in the grave, etc. Such thoughts that sow unhappiness in the heart. To terrify so that he should stay far from sin. But most certainly not. This is not at all what it means. The intent of this advice of our sages is not to remain with thoughts of the last day, departing, closing the coffin, with the awesome, harsh things that accompany it. For if you think of this, it might make you depressed. The result will be the opposite. But the real meaning of remembering the day of death, as received by our people, on the contrary, to remember the tremendous delight that awaits us after the bitterness of death, the great fortune for one who merits to measure his ways in this world. In truth, each person does need to pass through the cleansing of death, besides other matters. But after this comes awesome delight forevermore. Each one according to what he merited to gather in this world, according to what he prepared in the anteroom to meet the great glorious hall. This is the inner meaning of remember the day of death, to remind a person and say, do you know what amazing delight awaits you there? What true pleasure forever and all eternity. Yet because of foolish passing pleasure of this world, you are ready to lose this perpetual pleasure after 120 years? All the pleasures of this world, whatever they might be, have no worth relative to the eternal delight that a person will merit when he gets there. All of this included in the advice of our sages, remember the day of death, meaning what will happen in the afterlife and what a dreadful exchange one is making. He passes on eternal, endless ecstasy for foolish, temporal, worldly lust. The Rebbe writes that the delight of one moment of grasping of divinity is better than all the pleasures of this world. Remember well the delight after death. Remember well the day of death. After it there is such wonderful delight that no human born of woman can grasp while still in physical garb. Why pass on such awesome, enormous, everlasting delight in place of fleeting, foolish, empty pleasure? If one will truly meditate on this thought, all material temporal pleasures will certainly be despised by him. This is the proper interpretation. How our people would explain, remember the day of death. Not, God forbid, thoughts of depression, like those who don't understand the path of the Rebbe imagine. It is really a path of joy and hope, continuous strengthening and renewal. Renew the path of joy. Therefore, we need to renew ourselves in the path of the Rebbe. Rebbe's matter. Every piece of the Rebbe's advice should be with renewal. Such wonderful advice that it is possible to serve God, blessed be His name, with mental freedom. How much we need to always be strong and renew it. How to renew it? We have to be happy that we merit to walk the path of the Rebbe, to rejoice that we fell into such an advantageous lot. For we could have been from those who oppose the Rebbe. Is this not alone a reason for constant joy? Like the Rebbe once said to Moharanat, with me you would have argued, you would have been adamant opposers, were it not for the loving kindness of God who saved you. How happy we have to be that the matter was turned over. In place of being opposers who speak bad about the righteous one, we merited to fall in his portion. We should rejoice over this daily. Each one has to think to himself and take sole account. Such a Rebbe I would oppose. He actually enlivens me with his counsel. Am I able to move without him? With such a Rebbe we would have been prone to argue? Tremendous. Is this not a reason for tremendous joy, that we merited to fall in his lot? Not only do we not oppose, we merit to be called by his name. You are called by the name of the righteous one. It is something to be proud of. The matter should be something important by you. Do not hide the name that you merited. Breslover Chassid. Hold on to it strongly so that God forbid it should never fall away from you. How long will my honor be put to shame? We have to ask for mercy from God, that we should indeed hold ourselves by this Rebbe, and that we should be satisfied from the Rebbe, and always rejoice in him and be glorified in him, and God forbid not be embarrassed in him. This is a claim that David, king of Israel, made. How long will my honor be put to shame? People make fun of Breslov. They point in disdain to one who is a Breslover Chassid. This is the claim, why am I dishonored? Something that should be a great honor to boast of is shameful. However, even though by worldly people it looks like something to be ashamed of, to be called by the name of this righteous one. But it is not so. No person was ever damaged by being a Breslover Chassid. Thank God no boy who is a Breslover Chassid was ever barred from getting married because of his title. Most find their mate in their youth, as known to all. It is not necessary to elaborate about this. We still have not seen that one who is specifically not Breslov finds a better mate and more quickly. In the last few weeks, 6 or 7 matches were completed by us, and none of them were stopped. Why should we be embarrassed? Only in an external manner to external people does this looks like something disparaging. But in truth, God blessed be, his name helps, and no one was ever damaged. God forbid. This is material, but the spiritual benefit that comes out, who can assess and describe it? Fortunate is the portion of those who take shelter in the Rebbe's banner and are called by his name. Happy and fortunate is their portion in this world and the next. Distancing is the beginning of drawing close. In truth, this matter is necessary when people like us, filled with base materialism, draw close. Those who come to the truth and want to act in line with it. To be bound to such a lofty righteous one with such wonderful holy advice, by means of which it is possible to live good eternal life. But they have to go through what they have to. Like the Rebbe said, On the contrary, distancing is the beginning of drawing close. As soon as one starts drawing close to holiness, he is pushed away and is prone to fall from this. But most certainly not. Know that this is the way, par for the course. So must it be. If you want to draw close to this holy, pure, righteous one, you have to go through a lot. This is the burden that anyone who is steeped in materialism and wants to throw it away must bear. To purify, cleanse, and enter the Rabbi's chamber. Behold, my words are like fire. Due to this, drawing close to the righteous one involves hardship. The Rebbe teaches us in Sichos Haran 79. When a person begins to serve God and draw close to the true righteous, one much bewilderment and confusion come upon him. This can be compared to water. At first it appears to be clear, but when you put it on the fire and cook, it begins to stir and boil and exude extraneous material. Quote. So it is before a person starts serving God. Good and bad are mixed up. They are so mixed that the extraneous material is not at all apparent. Good and evil are completely mixed. Afterwards, when he begins to serve God and draw close to the true righteous one, he begins to cleanse and purify. The evil surfaces little by little. Someone else has to stand by and remove the dregs. Afterwards, it remains completely pure and clear as fitting. Meaning, before coming close to the Rebbe, I thought I was pure and clear. After drawing close to the fire, like the Rebbe would say that God blessed be his name loves, a well-fried Jews. Those who already passed through the fire of drawing close, when you come close to the righteous one, extraneous material surfaces. It was concealed and hidden until now, until the moment he decided to deal with it and remove it. It is necessary to take the dregs out, to cleanse and purify. Know that the closer one draws to the righteous one, the more all of the difficulties and trials pass away. Specifically due to them, you become more and more clean. If you accept them properly, a person can spend his entire life thinking he is pure and clean. But when he comes close to the fire, the dregs come out and are well apparent. He was not better off before he came close to the righteous one. Rather, before he came close to the righteous one, he was so mixed that he had no idea what was going on with himself. Only after he came close to the fire, the righteous one and his advice, behold, my words are like fire. Then the dregs came up and floated like oil on water through the holy flaming fire of the righteous one. This is why a person initially goes through so much, waves and breakers. These are the dregs that come out from the greatest depths. They surface and are purified through the righteous one. Stop being poor. Use your treasures. Begin to use your treasures. Stop being poor. Thank God we have treasures to wherever we turn. The precious treasure that the Rebbe inherited to us, to awake at a time of goodwill and speak words to God, blessed be his name. What a precious treasure this is, but it must be utilized, not be left by the wayside with no seekers. Behold, you are able to live beautiful life. You are not obliged to be poor. Stop being miserable. Such words came out of the mouth of our holy Rebbe, explicitly said to each one of us. You are a Breslover Chassid. You know from such a Rebbe, you can live beautiful life and not be poor. Use the treasures. Start speaking to God. Blessed be his name. Who has such a treasure? To always be able to talk each hour and moment to God, blessed be his name, like the Rebbe taught us. All the wealth in the world does not equal this most precious treasure, to speak words before God, blessed be his name. Moreover, at such a special time as midnight, how close this can bring a person to his Creator. Stop being miserable. Use your treasures. What you are lacking is renewal. The Rebbe hated old age. Every single word of the Rebbe has to be new by us. Every single night has to be new. As if we are coming to fulfill the amazing advice of awakening at midnight, the time of favor for the first time. Fulfilling the Rebbe's advice only through joy. But know this, in order to properly fulfill the advice of the Rebbe, it is necessary to be happy, the Rebbe tells. To come to peace of mind, to settle the mind and speak words to God, blessed be his name. This is only through joy. Only through joy can the mind be free and run as you wish. If God forbid one is depressed, even it is due to his bad deeds. He thinks that he is doing good for God. Blessed be his name by being sad because of the bad he did. But what is the result? He cannot say a word before God, blessed be his name. The adversary entices to be sad and depressed. However, this is not our way, God forbid, to sink into depression. It is from the counsel of the adversary to be religious. He entices. You caused so much pain to God. Blessed be his name. How can you be so brazen to try to approach him? What connection do you have to him? If someone does fall into sadness and depression, even due to faults, by this the adversary completely conquers him. He brings him completely into his domain. The person will not be able to speak one word before God, blessed be his name. Because to say words from peace of mind is only possible from a free frame of mind, which is only through joy. The path of the Rabbi, always be happy. The real path of the Rabbi is only to always be happy. In whatever circumstances, however you might be, rejoice in God. There is no permission to be depressed, even if I am the way I am. In whatever situation that could be, we believe and trust in our Father in heaven. Even if we are the way we are, God is with us. We will certainly merit to return to him. It is a great mitzvah to always be happy. In every state, at all times, on any level, be constantly joyous. For behold, the sole solution is to say many words to God, blessed be his name. But if one is not in a happy state, how will he have peace of mind to talk? How can he go out and get free of his sins without speaking before God, blessed be his name? For it is only possible to come to peace of mind through joy. Even a person goes through what he does. About this itself, he needs to speak to God, blessed be his name, to beseech and beg for mercy on his soul. We find that the only way to fulfill the Rabbi's advice is through joy. The main thing is to always settle the mind and speak words before God, blessed be his name. Anyone who joins the chamber of the Rabbi is obliged to be happy with true inner joy. As he charged, always be happy. May God, blessed be his name, help that we always be happy and merit to fully attain all the good that the Rabbi wants to grant us. Talk 39. Temamus and Peshitus, the shining looking glass. Chaye Moharan, 98. There is a story of a king who built himself a palace. He called 2 people and commanded them to paint it. He divided it into 2 parts. One person had to paint one half, another the other half. He made a deadline to finish painting by a certain time. They went their way. One of them went and worked very hard. He taught himself well the art of painting and making pictures until he finished his part. It was amazingly gorgeous. He depicted their animals and birds and the like in very wondrous, beautiful images. The other one didn't pay attention to the king's decree and was not busy with this at all. When it came close to the time set to finish the job, the first one had already completed his part in an extremely beautiful manner. This other person began to look at himself. What did he do? He wasted the time in emptiness and did not pay attention to the king's decree. He began to seek a solution. It would be impossible to teach himself the art of painting and do his share in such a short amount of time. It was very close to the deadline. He settled his mind and came up with an idea. He went and painted his whole part with translucent black paint. The paint was like a real shining mirror, and reflections were apparent in it. He went and hung a curtain in front of his portion to divide between him and his friend's part. When the time arrived that the king had set, he went to see their work. He saw the first part, filled with very wonderful pictures. There were pictures of birds, etc., extremely well depicted. The second part had a curtain hanging in front of it. It was dark behind it, and nothing was seen. The other fellow stood up and pulled the curtain back. The sun shined. It came and made all of the wondrous pictures in the other portion radiate in his portion, because of the translucent black paint, which shined like a mirror. Therefore, all the pictures of birds in the first part and the rest of the great images all appeared in his part. Whatever the king saw in the first part, he saw in the second part. In addition, all of the amazing utensils and furniture that the king had brought into the palace also appeared in the second part. It was very pleasing to the king. The rest I don't remember. All of this I heard from his holy mouth himself. The translucent black paint, Temamus. Our people would say, the work of the second craftsman shined and looked exactly like that of the first craftsman by means of the translucent black paint. It hints to Temimus and Peshitus, behavior bound to the source in upright truth, without any change and sophistication. The first craftsman who made all of the amazing pictures was a great righteous one and sage, and a tremendous specialist, expert in all corners of knowledge, revealed and hidden. Only by virtue of his wisdom and righteousness did he produce such incredible images. Whereas the second one was a simple person, a simpleton. It is understood that by his own accord he would have never been able to do such a thing, something so pleasing in the eyes of the king. But he had positive, practical Temimus and Peshitus without any of his own devices. In and of himself he had nothing. But he made himself into a mirror, a looking glass. Through this he reflected whatever was in front of him, without any change. This is precisely aligned with the concept of absolute Temimus, one who has nothing himself, nothing of his own accord. It comes out that the second one merited by virtue of his Temimus and total nullification to attain the same level as the great sage, and perhaps even more, who accomplished everything through much toil, by means of his tremendous learning and skills. A message and lesson for all. This is a great ethical lesson. For few are those who can produce such incredible craftsmanship by means of their own wisdom and knowledge, but by virtue of Temimus and Peshitus, in absolute humility and nullification to the righteous one and his holy advice without any sophistication, it is indeed possible to attain such amazing good as this. Like the second, simple artisan, who attained such greatness, as seen in his extraordinary art and breathtaking pictures. All of the advantages and special shades found in the first picture also shined by him, without any wisdom and knowledge, only through complete nullification. This is an awesome lesson. How far-reaching is the power of Temimus and Peshitus. We actually saw people who were simple by nature. Awesome lights shined in them, specifically in the merit of their Peshitus and Temimus, as if they were complete righteous ones. Many times we saw awesome servants of God in Uman, who were jealous of these simple people, of their Temimus and quality of truth. They saw it as a gift from heaven that precisely simple people merited pure, brilliant Temimus. Temimus is also for the wise. These outstanding levels of Temimus and Peshitus are not something empty, pertinent only for simpletons. In truth, even big righteous ones must come on to Temimus. As seen from the story of the palace, that precisely Peshitus found favor in the eyes of the king. The matter is understood based on the words of the Rebbe in Likutei Moharan 278, in the known lesson about simpletons who are called simpletons, Chelm. It says there, concerning the matter of the Peshitus of the true righteous one. At times the true righteous one is actually a simple person, what is called a simpleton. He behaves simply and does not reveal any Torah. He engages in mundane talk and the like. He is then actually in the category of a simple person. Know that the main life force is the Torah. As written, it is your life and length of days. Anyone who separates from the Torah is as if he separates from life. Therefore, the matter would seem to be an astonishing wonder. How could it be possible to separate oneself from the Torah for even a small time? But in truth, this is absolutely impossible, to always be attached to the Torah. As of necessity, one has to interrupt at some time, whether to do some business and the like, for it is also necessary to take care of bodily needs. When not learning Torah, the scholar is actually like a simple person, a simpleton. If so, how does one stay alive when he is not learning Torah, since the main vitality is from the Torah? But no, the true righteous one enlivens himself when he is a simple person from the path to the land of Israel, the source of the world's endurance prior to the giving of the Torah. because before the Torah was received, the world endured solely through his loving kindness. There was not yet Torah and mitzvah to keep the world going at the time of the righteous one's simplicity when he separates from the Torah. He receives life force from this aspect, the aspect of the kola, treasury of free gifts, which is the aspect of before the Torah was given, when the world endured through free loving kindness alone, the aspect of for his loving kindness is forever, which is said about prior to the giving of the Torah. As brought in the Gemara, these 26, forever is his loving kindness, mentioned in that psalm. To what do they correspond? To the 26 generations that preceded the giving of the Torah. For then there was no Torah. They were only busy in settling the world and worldly pursuit. As the rabbis say, great is worldly pursuit, for it preceded the Torah by 26 generations. The Torah certainly existed before it was received, because the Torah is eternal. However, it was hidden. The entire Torah is included in the 10 Commandments. Before they were given, the 10 Commandments were hidden in the 10 sayings through which the world was created. It comes out that the entire Torah was then hidden and concealed within settling the world, which was created with 10 sayings. Therefore, in all words, in all work and action, whether someone chopping wood or whatever, the Torah is hidden in them all. Because everything was created with the 10 sayings, where the Torah was hidden and buried prior to being given. When the righteous one separates from the Torah, he is in the category of a simple person. He then receives life force from this aspect of before the Torah was given. He enlivens himself from the aspect of the Torah hidden in the world, in all words and all actions, which were created with the 10 sayings. Therefore, the great righteous one is forced into peshitus and become a simple person at some time. Because through this he enlivens all the simple people, as mentioned, whoever it may be. From him all the simple people receive vitality. Each individual, according to how close he is to holiness and the righteous one, so does he receive from him higher vigor. The great principle is that it is forbidden to give up on yourself. Even a simple person who is not able to learn at all, or if he is in a place where he cannot learn and the like, nonetheless, he has to strengthen himself in fear of God and simple service, even at the time of his peshitus, because then too he receives vitality from the Torah. Through the great simpleton, that is the great righteous one, who at times is a simple person, and who enlivens them all, as said, even one who is on the lowest level, God forbid, may the merciful one save us. Even if he is in the lowest pit, may the merciful one save us. Nevertheless, he should not give up on himself. He should strengthen himself with whatever he can. Even a simple person has to have fear of heaven. It is necessary for one to strengthen himself in fear of heaven, even at the time of simplicity, however he can. It is possible to come to tremendous joy through temimus and faith, because sophistication is not at all necessary, only faith and temimus and peshitus. Fortunate is one who walks in temimus. Prior to the Torah, there was translucent black paint. In conclusion, until the receiving of the Torah, there was no craftsmanship and no actual revelation of those beautiful pictures. These were only made by the receiving of the Torah, whereas the holy patriarchs grasped the Torah even before it was given. They had the path to the land of Israel, the state of worldly pursuit that preceded the Torah. From it, they drew their vitality, as in the wording of the Rabbi. The simpleton derives his life force from the path to the land of Israel, the matter of temimus and peshitus. A lesson for each individual. From here there is lesson for each individual, even though the craftsmanship itself is found by righteous ones, geniuses, and Kabbalists, but the path to the land of Israel, which is the life source for all the simple people, relates to everyone. If a person doesn't have the wisdom to make beautiful pictures himself, he should not be discouraged. Rather, he should strengthen himself and be in the aspect of translucent black paint. That is, temimus and peshitus should shine in him. For in the final end we see that the true temimus and nullification he had was pleasing in the eyes of the king more than the wisdom of the first craftsman. In practice, when a person nullifies himself to God, blessed be his name, and has pure faith in Peshitus and Temimus, in true humility and lowliness, with true desire and resolution to draw close to him. And he nullifies himself to the righteous one, and accepts his words about everything. He can actually merit to what righteous ones have through their holy wisdom and graspings. What to do in such a short amount of time? However, from the outset, a person has to do whatever he can in serving God, to devote all his time to Torah and prayer and good deeds. Also, strive to understand the wisdom of the Torah and attain grasping of divinity according to his ability. He should not rely upon Temimus in a place where it is possible to take action, but it is certainly different if he is not able, or a state of post facto, such as here. For we are talking about a limited amount of time. The deadline has arrived. They are already calling him from heaven. What should he do then? He wants to do repentance with his whole heart in truth. He wants to walk in the upright path. But does he have enough time? Is he able to mend his ways in such a short time? What should he do? Tremendous! To heart's grief, he wasted his years in empty, vain pursuits. He did not paint and decorate the palace as the king wanted. Now there is no time left to fix his deeds and actually complete them. What should he do? Give up? God forbid. Behold, there is no despair whatsoever. Like the Rabbi says in this lesson. If so, there must always be some solution, even in such a small constricted time slot as this. There is some solution to escape. However, despite this, what shall he do? Is there any way to make up what he lost during all the years wasted on foolishness and folly? How can he prepare the beautiful pictures the king requested of him in such a short time, something that he even accepted upon himself to do? Above and beyond all, do not give up. The Rabbi comes and teaches each individual. The story of painting the palace is a parable for life in this world and the job of man. Make beautiful paintings for the Holy One, blessed be He. However, from the outset, it is necessary to learn wisdom and divine knowledge, and to use it in life, according to the king's request, as every Jewish soul accepts before coming down to this world. That is, to as if paint for the Holy One, blessed be He, amazing pictures, to cause for Him pleasure through guarding His commandments and learning His holy Torah, because there is no pleasure before Him greater than this. But what happens if a person did not do his job, whether a little or a lot? Or if he is someone who, God forbid, wasted his years in vanity and emptiness? He is called to return the deposit, the soul, to the one who gave it by him. He has already been summoned by the king. Or in a case where a person takes self-account and is pained over his misdeeds, it seems that he can never fix. What should he do then? Behold, at such a time he needs to learn from the second, artisan, the simpleton, the one who did not do his job. The king is calling, requesting to see what he accomplished on earth. Therefore, what did that person who ended up finding favor in the eyes of the king do? For we are supposed to learn from such a person what to do in such a dreadful post facto as this. The first thing, do not give up. His time came. The king is calling. First, it is impossible to get out of it and pretend he doesn't hear. Rather, he needs to realize where he's at. It is already too late to complete what he accepted upon himself to do for the king. On the other hand, he must know that this situation too is no valid reason to give up. However, the second craftsman, who wasted the whole time on nothingness, did not despair. He stood his ground, because he knew that there is no such thing as giving up. He also knew what is said, even if a sharp sword rests on your neck, do not give up on begging for mercy. This is the way of the Torah, the perspective of the rabbis. The Rebbe went out of his way a lot to emphasize this. There is no other way. In whatever circumstance, whatever might be, never give up. Never give up under any circumstance. This is already a great strengthening, whatever may be, with no exceptions. Do not give up. However, the craftsman, the true great sage, to him the king comes first. He is holy from the womb. His whole life he toiled with self-sacrifice. He produced amazing paintings. He did whatever was required from him. The king came and was pleased. He agreed that he is indeed a righteous one, on a high level, proper and fitting. What did the second one do? He also received the same orders as the first one. What shall he do at a time like this, when it appears that the end has come? He is prone to fall into bitter despair, realizing that within a short time the king will come to him too. Is it possible to imagine the awful embarrassment when the king comes himself in his honor to see a person's deeds and he has nothing to show but folly and foolishness? For as Ed, the second one wasted his whole life in vanity and emptiness. Now they make the royal summons. Get ready, the king is coming to check your deeds. Wamay, what do you have to show him? Tremendous! Is there any other solution than to fall into the arms of despair? May the merciful one save us. But he did not give up. He was also not discouraged. Indeed, because his powerful spirit, he settled his mind and immediately found a solution that saved him from certainly going lost, to the extent that the solution he found and carried out found favor in the eyes of the king. The translucent black paint Temimus and Bitul solution. This is the real solution for all problems generally and specifically. Nullification to the ultimate goal. That is, to nullify oneself incompletely, as if he feels nothing whatsoever. Every person can do this, as I heard from his holy mouth. The words of Moharanat Likutei Halachos Netilis Yadaim Shachris. 4. He did not despair. But what is the practical solution? He began to take action. He got for himself some translucent black paint, a superior material. Anything in its way is reflected and seen shining brilliantly. Meaning, he reached deep realization that he has nothing of his own, and he cannot do anything. The only thing he can do is make himself null and transparent to what stands in front of him, to the great sage who fashioned all the incredible paintings with much toil. Meaning that he took the idea of nullification to the end. When he himself is nothing, what stands in front of him shines and completes all that he was lacking until now. The amazing result of Temimus. Indeed, the result was beautiful and wonderful. Because the king fully acquiesced, amazing wisdom and tremendous expertise was visible in the work of the first one. The second one accomplished that it all appeared in his part in full beauty. All of this splendor came through the translucent black paint, through his absolute nullification by virtue of Temimus and Peshitus. Even in the hardest circumstances, when all looked lost and the sword was already resting on the neck, it was possible to attain all the wondrous lights through Temimus and Peshitus. Temimus and Prustic by great righteous ones. We already mentioned that Temimus and Peshitus are not something secondary, only for extenuating circumstances and not more. It is not so. Rather, we even find Temimus by great righteous ones. They also need this advice. As Moharanat writes, the Rebbe once groaned and said, a simpleton, deep yearning for Peshitus. He even testified about himself and swore on the Holy Shabbos that he knows nothing and is absolutely simple. The eve of Holy Shabbos Nachmu, 5570, 2 months before his departure, in Uman after Kiddush, he said Torah about his Peshitus. That is, he is at times a simple person, which is called a simpleton. He then enlivens himself from the way to the land of Israel. As brought in Likutei Moharan 278, he said that he knows nothing. So we found by the choice one of our holy ancestors, Yaakov our father. May his memory be for a blessing. About him it says Yaakov was a simple person. In the merit of the simple one, on Rosh Hashanah, the day of judgment, we mention his merit. We specifically call upon the level of Yaakov the simpleton. Through this, the awesome one will make us righteous in judgment. Temimus is a great awesome level even by righteous ones. Even one who has all kinds of expertise and wisdom needs Temimus and Peshitus. The nullification of righteous ones. What? Dust/worm. Simpleton. Indeed, it is so. Even by big righteous ones we find terms of temimus and peshitus and bitul. Insubstantiality by Moshe Rabbeinu, may his memory be for a blessing. Dust by Avraham Avinu, may his memory be for a blessing. Worm by David Hamelech the king, may his memory be for a blessing. And so the word simpleton, which the Rabbi said about himself. Although these are all terms of temamois and nullification, it is understood that they refer to another kind of nullification, and temamois. The idea is that after everything righteous ones grasp, they still look at themselves as being in the aspect of dust, in the category of cold, insubstantiality. I know nothing. According to the level, so is nullification. This is brought in the Holy Zohar. When a person attains lofty levels with nothing higher, they then say to him from above, "What have you seen? What have you felt?" This is the level of righteous ones. After everything grasped, they come to the grasping of insubstantiality, the grasping of temimus and peshitus. That is, who holds on to the aspect of insubstantiality, not knowing anything? One who reaches such a level that there is nothing above it. The higher the level is, the greater the nullification. Because the highest kind of nullification is insubstantiality, it is an even higher level of humility than dust. This was the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, father of all prophets and greatest of them all. Precisely, he had the greatest aspect of nullification, the aspect of insubstantiality. To masters of knowledge of the Infinite One, they show the grasping of, "For a man cannot see me and live," the aspect of, "Where is the place of his glory?" as brought in the words of the Rebbe Likutei Moharan 2:7. Whereas to the dwellers beneath, those who are on the lowest levels, they show the aspect of, "I saw God," which is the aspect of, "The whole world is full of his glory, as known." God, blessed be his name, delights in nullification of simpletons. We find that the essential matter of nullification is something extremely lofty, yet it extends down to the lowest levels by simple people. Nullification means to live in tamamus and peshitus, in lowliness and humility. When people merit this, they cause tremendous pleasure before God, blessed be his name. For, as said, through true temamus and peshitus wondrous translucent black paint is made, a brilliant shining looking-glass, in which all beautiful things in the world appear. Whatever is lacking is completed by simplicity. Through this, they generate tremendous pleasure above. Like the Rebbe says about the second craftsman who used translucent black paint. It found favor in the eyes of the king. He was truly a simple person who lacked knowledge and wisdom. He was not prestigious. Nevertheless, he was able to cause tremendous pleasure to the Holy One, blessed be he, through his temamus, through his refined truth, which God, blessed be his name, loves very much. What was really lacking by him, what he did not accomplish, is completed by his temamus reflector, the shining looking-glass. What the simpleton attained by his pure temamus. As told in the tale of the simpleton was a simple person. Everyone made fun of him. He behaved with outstanding temamus. As the Rebbe tells that the Uapaik, Kot Yishak Mekestraminger, Meiteni Bupers, served for him in place of all kinds of garments. His bread contained all kinds of foods. His water had all types of drinks. They all laughed and made a mockery of him. But by him pure faith shined so much that he really experienced supernal taste in all food and drink. And so it is in spirituality. He felt vitality in each holy thing. Everything shined to him. Faith was so strong by him that he actually felt the taste, in the words of the Rabbi. Not that he deceived himself. Rather, faith granted him real experience. He did not have quality food and drink like other people. Nevertheless, by the power of his faith, he experienced all the delights in the world in simple bread and water, as if he actually had them. In the end, the simpleton also merited lofty levels. He grew and climbed and advanced, all through the power of his true temamus. by virtue of the awesome translucent black paint that he presented. Have I fulfilled the obligation of Temimus? In general, the matter of Temimus and Peshitus by the Rebbe is a tremendous great principle. Moharanat, his most faithful student, gave an entire life to spreading his holy knowledge in the world. Our vigor until today comes through Moharanat's absolute timimios and nullification, yet he let out a deep groan a few hours before departing. He asked from the depths of his heart, "Have I fulfilled the obligation of the Rebbe's Temimus?" The matter is extremely challenging and demands much from us. Nothing disturbed his tranquility at that awesome time of soul accounting before departing. Only this: if he had properly fulfilled the true Temimus of the Rebbe. The main truth is Temimus. Within Temimus is hidden the light of truth. The entire endurance of a person depends upon truth. How highly Scripture and our sages speak of the level of truth. Every holy matter, commandments, and serving God and Torah and prayer. The main thing part of each one is truth. By Torah we find, the Torah of truth was in his mouth. By prayer we find, close is God to all who call him. To all who call him in truth. Without truth, there is no basis for anything. The main truth is contained in Temimus. Without Temimus, truth cannot be. About this groaned a man of truth. Moharanat, may his memory be for a blessing before leaving the world. Did he really merit to the Temimus and truth that everything depends upon? Through Temimus, small are like the great. Moharanat understood that through Temimus it is possible to merit all levels, for through it shines and appears all of the high levels of the elite. Temimus is a kind of translucent black paint through which it is possible to merit all high levels, just like the elite, until he merits to find favor in the eyes of the king. Moharanat, by virtue of his outstanding truth, merited more than all the other disciples. I don't know and I know are equal. Once, when the Rebbe traveled with Rabbi Natan, they were attacked by dogs. They began to bark. The Rebbe turned to them and said, I know who you are. The dogs ran for their lives. Another time, after the Rebbe departed, Rabbi Natan again traveled that way. Again dogs attacked. Rabbi Natan turned to them and said, I traveled here with the Rebbe, and he said to you, I know who you are, and you ran for your lives. Therefore I say to you, I don't know. They immediately turned around and went their way. Our people would explain this amazing story. Rabbi Natan wanted to demonstrate that through nullification to the righteous one in the aspect of I don't know, it is possible to accomplish things like righteous ones with their knowledge. Even though in truth Rabbi Natan did know why they were barking, we learn from the words of Rabbi Natan, by bounding to the righteous one and nullifying to him in Temimus, even someone on a low level can be close to God, blessed be his name, like a great person through holy graspings. The special art of making translucent black paint. The idea of translucent black paint is a very wondrous concept. It is a tremendous strengthening for us. Because there is indeed a great advantage found in the acts of the second painter. Through the translucent black paint, all the great regal furniture was seen there with the incredible pictures. In this, he certainly has a plus over the first one. In the translucent black paint, they saw the furniture and even the king himself. Examining the words of the Rebbe, we find that he greatly praised the deeds of the second one. He even added more praise than for the acts of the first one. So he says, whatever the king saw in the part of the first one, he saw in the work of the second. In addition, all the royal furniture that the king brought into the palace appeared. It was all visible in the second part. And so everything that the king might want to bring to the palace, more extraordinary utensils, they will all appear in the second part. It found favor in the eyes of the king. This is the special advantage of the second one over the first one. Because of the translucent black paint, they also saw the wonderful royal vessels that were brought in later. Our people would add, behold, the king himself could be seen with the translucent black paint mirror. The matters are ancient and mystical. How hard it is to be attached to one who is pure. If the skeptic would ask, How can we honor the second one more than the first one? He worked so much until he came to his marvelous art, whereas the second one didn't do anything but splatter a little translucent black paint? A question like this was asked by the holy Rabbi Elimelech of Lizinsk. May his memory be for a blessing, about what it says. Anyone who is attached to a pure one is pure. How is this fair? The pure one worked his entire life until he came to the level of being pure, whereas the one who connected to him just attached himself without working on himself, and he is already called pure? The Noam Elimelech answers, "You think that it is an easy devotion to be attached to one who is pure? Is it such an easy job to make translucent black paint? It involves a lot of work. Making translucent black paint is no small thing. It is not simple to come to such complete nullification. It is a very lofty service to come to such an intense degree of true nullification and temimus. This is what it means. For indeed, it is a special art unto itself to make translucent black paint in true temimus and nullification." As mentioned, our people would say that the advantage of translucent black paint is that all the precious articles in the king's chambers were also apparent. Even the latest furniture he brought in could be seen there. Not only this, even the king himself was seen there. Behold, Moharanat was the youngest student of them all. He also came to the Rebbe last. Despite this, he accomplished more than everyone. All the great holy disciples were close to the Rebbe before his journey to the land of Israel, such as Rabbi Aharon, the Rabbi of Breslov, Rabbi Udel, Rabbi Shmuel Isaac. They all drew close much before Rabbi Natan. They were older than him, yet he accomplished more than them all. Why is this so? Because he took the matter of the Rebbe's temimus more seriously than everyone else. Therefore did he recognize the Rebbe more. He also knew more about the Rebbe's greatness, as the Rebbe himself testified. All this because he took himself to the path of temimus completely, without any sophistication whatsoever. He was completely nullified to the Rebbe. Like he said, when he came to the Rebbe, he emptied his brain. Every word he heard from the Rebbe brought him a bit of new mind, until he was completely filled. Therefore did he receive more than them all. Although he was by the Rebbe for a relatively short amount of time, in this period he managed to be smart and make such translucent black paint, such complete temimus, by means of which everything was apparent, both in past and future. Everything is visible there, even what the king brought in later, as brought there about the advantage of the second one over the first one. Even though Moharanat toiled like the first one, but he was smart enough to also attain the advantage of the second one in true temimus. In this, he was extra special. This a strong rebuttal to those who seek to speak in a whirlwind against Moharanat, as if he did not recognize the Rebbe enough. May the merciful one save us. How false it is. Moharanat was completely null to the Rebbe, until the Rebbe himself said about him, Mik, "A page of a book would not be left of me were it not for him." Without Moharanat Likutei, Moharan would not be a special book based on which people go and do not budge from even a bit for 200 years. It is the legacy that the Rebbe left. Based on it, everything is decided. We have nothing left but this Torah. It all comes from the power of Moharanat, who recorded the lessons. He printed them and spread them. He taught them in Israel. He wrote prayers about them. By means of them he explained the Shulchan Aruch. From him life comes out till this very day. It could also be that without Moharanat, no dissension would have been aroused on Likutei Moharan. Its specialty would not have been apparent to the world, and it would not have become known as a book that gives guidance to each one, teaching for all times how to behave according to the Rebbe's will. All because his faithful disciple Moharanat was smart enough to appreciate and act and make Likutei Moharan into a life guide. Moharanat made the compilation of the Rebbe into a book of grasping of divinity that also contains practical guidance, not like other books, such as the Kedushas Levy, the Noam Elimelech, Mor Einayim, or Hamir, Arve Nachal, and the like. Despite their lofty material, holy knowledge of big righteous ones, they are not seen by the masses as books to run daily life on, even though the public learns them in reverence and holiness. But where are those who are stirred through them to practical action, who accepted the custom of midnight? For example, all of the aforementioned books speak of getting up at midnight. But who actually does this? But Moharanat gave over Likutei Moharan in a manner that made it into a personal manual for each one. Those connected to it find real advice about how to behave all the days of life on earth. By the way, only in these books does it speak of the lofty level of midnight. Behold, we already find in the Holy Zohar the greatness of midnight, that it is a high time with nothing higher than it, as brought countless places in the Zohar. But solely by the nullification of Moharana to every single word and piece of advice and practice of the Rebbe, has this custom been actualized by our people, from then and of old. In absolute temimus, with no sophistication whatsoever, those who fulfill midnight also merit to speak words of truth at that time. Even though it is an awesome matter, nonetheless it requires temimus and peshitus to get up at midnight, as Moharanat spoke and stirred to practice. He even composed awesome prayers about it. This is a wondrous gift from the Rebbe, to know to speak words at this time of goodwill, but it requires temimus and truth. They are the sole solution to completely fulfill everything. The adversary lurks on temimus. Precisely around temimus does the adversary lurk more than anything. He will not come to entice a person to stop learning and praying and doing commandments, or to cut off his beard and sideburns. God forbid. For certainly no one would listen. But he has another way, to make a person turn away from truth and temimus. In this he falls into his hand and is trapped, God forbid. This is known by the Creator of the universe, and no one else. Therefore is it necessary to speak only to him and ask, "You love truth so much, and only truth is important to you. Have mercy on me that I should not turn away from truth. I already learn and pray. Why should it not be in truth?" Moharanat is both son and servant. In lesson Tikkun Emunah, the Rebbe explains the verse, like one who pities his son that serves him. It refers to a great, lofty level. Someone who he is a son, yet also a simple servant, shochbia, meaning that he has both the advantages of son and servant. Even though from the angle of his huge graspings he is in the aspect of son, he still does simple devotions like a servant. He throws himself into dirt and mud for the sake of the blessed Creator, an even higher level. So was Moharanat. On one hand, he was an extraordinary genius, a great mind with few like him. On the other hand, he had such temimus. He was unique in his generation, having both the aspects of son and servant. Therefore did he merit to what he did. Be wholesome with God. Temimus is a very foundational matter. Even when a person merits to do a very great holy act filled with knowledge and wisdom and grasping, he must approach the Holy One, blessed be He, in temimus and subjugation and lowliness. To stand before Him like someone poor and destitute, really nothing. As the Rebbe writes in Testikunim, before God one must stand like a poor and destitute person. Although you do have an aspect of a rod of power, this is only to subjugate inner evil. But relative to God, blessed be His name, be humble and contrite. This idea is extremely essential in a person's whole life path. You have to serve God with full power and grasping. And grasp more and more in Torah and prayer. But before God, blessed be His name, you have to stand in temimus and lowliness, in the aspect of nothingness. Temimus alone is not enough. We already said that each one has to take action and not rely on temimus alone. Do not think that you will not learn and pray and do what you have to, and just be a simpleton. To suffice with this, or think that at the end of life you will make translucent black paint and escape. It is not so. Rather, it is necessary to learn and pray, and fulfill commandments, and do good deeds as much as you can. Because this is an obligation. It is impossible to get out of it. But after he does all he can, and takes sole account and reckons, what are my services and devotions compared to elite people? Behold, I am nil and naught compared to them. When will my deeds reach up to theirs? Then, through his temamus and nullification, he is able to attain lofty graspings. But when a person is able to do more, but avoids it with the claim that he is a simpleton, this is faulty in foundation. Temamus purifies the impure and impurifies the pure. Moreover, Moharanat writes in Likutei Halachos about the matter of improper temamus. In general, temamus hints to the mitzvah of the red heifer, a mitzvah that we have no grasp in. Even the most wise of man says of it, I said that I will understand, but it is far from me, because it purifies the impure and impurifies the pure. The same applies to temimus and nullification, meaning that it is forbidden to suffice with temimus in a place where one can take action, for then temimus will be a pitfall and damage instead of helping. This kind of temimus is not pure, it is just, avoiding, and stems from laziness. This is a powerful principle in matters of the Rebbe. It is necessary to serve God with all of your might without letting up as long as you can. According to the known statement of the Rebbe, hell if you can. When a person is healthy, he has to do powerful principite, sherdwa, filing viscers bite. Hell if you can. But when one is ill, God forbid, he sets aside hard service and has nothing but the mitzvah, you shall guard your life. When I am able to do, I must act. God forbid to exempt oneself, with the excuse that he is nullifying himself, and the like. Because the Holy One, blessed be, he knows the ability of each one, what he is able to do and what not. When one wastes time over nothing, God forbid, it is a serious sin, and the Holy One, blessed be, he does not overlook. He knows the complications of each one's soul. It is impossible to trick him, God forbid, because all is revealed before him. In practice, each individual must do all that rests upon him. But together with this, the Rebbe says in Lesson 112 that the main foundational principle that all depends upon is truth. It is the basis of all. Whatever low level you may be on, say a word in truth according to who you are. The Holy One, blessed be, he wants to hear a word of truth. Truth is hidden and buried within temamus and peshitas. When a person has temamus and peshitas in thought and action without sophistication, he has truth. His path is then safe. Temamus and truth are favorable in the eyes of the king. It could be that someone is on the highest levels and does the greatest things, but they are not in pure truth. This is a tremendous defect. But if he is on the lowest level, once he is drawn to truth and temimus, this is better than lofty levels that are not refined truth. God, blessed be, his name wants truth and desires to hear from a person words of truth, even though he is on the lowest level. Since the Holy One, blessed be, he wants to hear truth and temimus. When you do this, it is good for you. Like the words of the Rebbe in the story of the translucent black paint, it found favor in the eyes of the king. Do not forget the king. In conclusion, it is fitting to bring what is brought in the Holy Zohar. At times, the Holy One, blessed be, he shows a happy face, but you have to know that he is king and act accordingly. Never forget this. For sometimes the king wants to test his soldiers. If they forget he is king, what does he do? He smiles to them. Woe to the soldier who forgets the king and behaves in a proud manner. Because we have to always know that he is king, and to go with humility and lowliness and continuous temamus. Moharanat brings about the Rebbe that shame was always on his face. He was always trembling. Many times the table shook from his trembling and fear of God.